White or blue, trigger happy power, crazy button pushes where we 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films. And no, don't be confused. We're watching See No Evil first. That's just the alternate title. Welcome to the Drive-In Asylum double feature with our special guest, John McDevitt, back after a too long hiatus. Hello, John.
Hi.
So how are you?
I'm great. I am so delighted to be here. I mean, this has been, I know, for just nearly everyone, an extraordinarily difficult year. And to be on this show with the two of you, Sam and Bill, is a complete and utter delight. It's such a breath of fresh air during, challenging times. And so thank you again for having me on the show.
Glad to have you. It's exciting. We are going to watch a movie directed by the director of Mandingo in Amityville 3 to start, which I'm very excited about, which I have not seen our first movie tonight. Yeah. And written by the director and writer of Captain Kronos, Brian Clemens. So that's pretty exciting. I'm really excited about it. I have purposely not read anything or spoiled myself at all so that I am ready for the twists and turns of this movie.
You're definitely in for a treat.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's I watched it. I had not seen it actually until John, you suggested it. One night I couldn't sleep. I was really sick this week, so I'm going to try and mute the microphone every time I have to cough. But I was up all night one night and I just decided to watch it. And I was like, wow, this movie is that's the perfect way to watch it because it's really got a nightmare feeling to it.
So unnerving. And something that a lot of folks don't know about it is Sergio Martino has said that it was a direct inspiration for Torso. So any Torso fans watching tonight, get ready to see the biggest influence on that film.
Wow. I was thinking that whenever it has like kind of the feel of it with like the manor house kind of thing. So I'm excited. I'm a big Torso fan, so excited to see that.
I kept getting deja vu until I realized that that's where I got that idea from. I did not know that though about the connection to torso, so that's really interesting because it can't. I kept thinking like, is she going to start signaling with a mirror? She couldn't do that. Our heroine could not do that because she's not sighted. She's recently blind in an accident. So this is kind of like Audrey Hepburnish, don't you think?
Without a
Wait
doubt.
until dark.
Indeed.
I think it's fun every time Mia Farrow's character makes these little vacations to places, bad things seem to happen. Like she's a really great damsel in distress for these movies. I think it's the expressionness of her face, especially. But you want to root for her, but she's always like way in over her head in these situations.
Yeah, the first time and only time so far that I have seen the film we're watching tonight, like I was, I think, in high school, and like I just remember the experience so vividly of being so riveted and just being kind of so fixated just on the hope that this character is going to survive. I mean, just rarely have I rooted for somebody as much as the main character, the hero of this film. Yeah, and Mia Farrow is just a phenomenal actor. I adore her in horror films and thrillers. Rosemary's Baby, obviously, and The Haunting of Julia is exquisitely sad and wonderful. And she's really excellent in this too. And she kind of always presents a kind of frailty that maybe makes you worry for her more so than you would other actors who might have been cast in roles like that. And yeah, I mean, she is just utterly captivating, her performance in this film.
That's what I like, especially between Haunting of Julia is the one I was thinking of too, because like you get the idea, it's the frailty, and it's like, even though the circumstances around her are fantastic and supernatural, it's like you believe that she is going through it, and that's a real talent, I think, as an actor. So it's exciting whenever I get to see her and stuff. So I'm excited. Though I've seen a couple other folks in the chat. I do love her sister Tisa the most, but
And just her, I think the spacing, like the blocking of all of the scenes in the film we're watching tonight, just given she is a blind woman, just her spatial understanding is so crucial to her survival in this film. And just watching it, you might find yourself just sitting there still as a statue so as not to attract the home invader's attention yourself. It's so intense.
Oh man.
Yeah, the comparison to Wait Until Dark is unavoidable, but I do think that both actresses, she and Audrey Hepburn, brought something different to the role of a person who had just recently been blinded. They've both adapted remarkably well. And Audrey Hepburn, I don't know about Mia Farrow's character, but Audrey Hepburn's character is in New York, where it's impossible to really truly know where everything is going to be in your everyday life, and yet she navigates this really complicated situation with home invaders. And this is a little more spooky, though, I have to say. This is even more of a thriller, I'll say, than Wait Until Dark.
I think it's interesting too for a blind character because for those that are blind, like, have to build this environment around them where they know where everything is, and it's even more of an invasion when someone comes within that and comes into that space because they've had to create this place that is unique for them.
Yeah.
Something really interesting is the character. They present her, speaking of her environment, she comes from, well, no, it's her relative's house. The film takes place not at Mia Farrow's character's house, but she's visiting her relatives, and yet she's operating totally from memory of being in the place, because apparently she was extremely familiar with it. That's a good thing, because I don't know how else she would have found her way around everything.
That was always my nightmare as a kid. I think of like, because I had a teacher once say about, oh, I had a friend that went blind and he started to memorize everything he could while he could still see. And I thought like, that's like the biggest nightmare situation because it would, take out so much, even though I did want an eye patch as a kid. So I wanted to half go blind, but not completely.
You could have just worn an eye patch, Sam.
I learned that later. Yeah. But I wanted to be Nick Fury. What can you do?
So, John, something that you've been up to lately, you've been curating a series of films titled The Super Horrorama. And
yeah.
Why don't you
So
talk a
it's so I wound up moving the program from the original venue to a new venue, a place called Sideshow Gelato, which is in Chicago's Lincoln Square. A lovely spot where you can order dairy or non-dairy gelato and Sideshow inspired flavors. And some horror inspired flavors too. There's a Vampire Circus gelato that contains dark chocolate, raspberry jam, and black garlic. It's magnificent. It's kind of a favorite for a lot of us who kind of pass through Sideshow Gelato. But yeah, and just given the new venue and the kind of more informal sort of format of just kind of being in this makeshift screening room at an ice cream parlor with a drop down screen and a ceiling projector, I just sort of kind of leaned more into just campier films, sillier films that sort of invite noise and interaction from the audience, and that also kind of fit the themes of the venue. So we did an Ice Cream and Death series with Phantasm, Assault on Precinct 13, and Ice Cream Man. And we also did a series about Sinister Magicians, another series about creepy clowns, and then a William Castle series that was kind of a collaboration with Matt Carr from the Music Box Theater, who's been doing the William Castle screenings with Gimmicks there. He's really the brain behind that entire operation. And then this month, we're doing our last series at Sideshow Gelato because sadly, it is closing its doors for good at the end of the month. But for our last show, we're doing Welcome to Primetime Holiday Edition. So this is building on a one-off show that I did in October with the Paul and Halloween special and 2 other Halloween specials that I'm personally a really huge fan of, and that fit the Halloween season. So it was a Tales from the Dark Side episode called The Cuddy Black Sow, written by Michael McDowell, the screenwriter of Beetlejuice. And the other one was an episode of Perversions of Science, which is a super underseen Tales from the Crypt sci-fi spinoff. And it's an episode called Panic, directed by Toby Hooper. And it's very War of the Worlds, and it's set on Halloween night. Jamie Kennedy is in it. It's really, really fun. So for the holiday edition of Welcome to Primetime, it's all of the weirdest holiday specials from the 1950s through the 2000s, and each night has a different theme. I can't advertise to the public what episodes I'm going to be showing, but the themes are nice hooks. So the first one is existential dread, the second one is alien invasions, and the third one is marriage is murder. So all of the episodes fit that theme and also the broader Christmas theme of being a Christmas episode of a classic show.
That's awesome.
That's in the Chicago area. I know Chris is from Chicago. Chris Two Sheds Erickson.
Yes.
Oh, and one other thing. So I'm also curating commercial breaks that are authentic to the original air dates. And there's going to be a little bit of fake channel flipping as well to catch some music videos of those eras and news broadcasts, stuff like that.
Oh, that's exciting.
I
wish we lived closer. Yeah, because I would totally go to that. That's awesome.
I'll send you both an MP4 so you can watch it home.
Awesome.
I've never been to Chicago. I've never seen Chicago.
Oh, we got to bring you to Chicago sometime soon. We were kind of trying, and earlier this year in the summer, didn't work out. But I have 2 venues that I'm talking with about potentially continuing Super Horrorama next year. Nothing is solidified yet, but if it happens, like I would love for you to just program one of our double features and come out to Chicago and so that people can enjoy you both in person.
That'd be
Yes,
awesome.
we absolutely will.
Yay.
We'll pick something where something happens in the movie, though, just for our first time, just to get people used to it. Like they showed the Bat People and nothing happened the whole movie.
Well, yeah, a night of movies where nothing happens is something you do once you've created a reputation.
Yeah, once people are like, okay, I can deal with that. I would argue that I don't know about the first movie, but in our second movie, a lot happens. It is not a movie. Yeah. It is almost too much happens. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Things never stop happening in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what? Like, strange guest stars show up when you go to the bathroom in the second movie. It gets wild. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about these Christmas movies because I just started working on my Christmas challenge. I'm doing a 25 days of Christmas challenge and with another site. And man, I watched 2 really bad ones today, so I'm very excited. I only tried to watch the worst of what Tubi has for Christmas movies for my challenge. The 12 Disasters of Christmas, a movie that is a combination Mayan Christmas movie where the Mayan prophecy was really the 12 days of Christmas. I shit you not. And then each of the 12 days of Christmas are a different plague that will come to destroy us. Who knew? Oh man,
There's a challenge.
You know, I'm gonna throw out there, Sam, maybe you've seen these already. They're kind of in shot on video territory. I mean, they're certainly micro budget movies, both from the aughts, if my memory is right. One of them is A Cadaver Christmas, which is a complete and utter delight. It was shot in Chicago.
I've never seen it. I'm writing this down now.
It is shockingly good. I mean, I kind of will watch any Christmas horror movie because it's one of my subgenres. And it's one of the ones I was honestly expecting not to be great. And it just blew me away. And its heart and its creativity, it is such a delightful film. And then another one is Christmas with the Dead. I recommend as well.
Awesome. I haven't seen either one, so I'm going to put these on my list.
Yeah,
you can't watch Elves every year.
Yeah,
you can. I mean, you can. And Christmas.
You can and you will.
Yeah, and speaking of shot on video, Pittsburgh's own Santa Claus. Yeah, another great one.
Is that John Russo?
Oh, it sure is. Yeah. That's the movie that taught me that there's a store in Market Square that literally Bill and I for years had no idea what it was. Like it sold hats and we had no idea what it was. And that's where he gets the Santa Claus suit in that movie. I'm like, oh, that's why he goes. That's what that store did. We thought it was a drug front for years. So yeah.
There's also like a really great, it's like an embroidered jacket that I really want somebody to make as merch, like for a new release of that film.
Oh yeah.
I never watched it until Terror Vision put out the Blu-ray. Was beautiful release, and I
like that it has the Scream Queen Christmas on it, which is another John Russo get the most out of the footage you've shot, where it's just music videos with the same footage. It's the same footage from both movies. It's wonderful. And I really like. There's that one 3D movie that. Earl Owensby's company put out. And there's a scene at the end where these kids have to stay with
Rottweiler.
It's like it has the word dimension in the title.
Yeah, Tales from the Third Dimension in 3D.
Yeah. That's actually a really fun film. And that last segment is kind of the winner of the lot.
Yeah, and the grandmother goes nuts, Bill, and starts hunting the kids through the house. It's really something, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw Daryl bring up someone just one of my friends sent me a text today, said, should I download the Kirk Cameron Christmas movie? And I was like, yeah, you totally should, because it's probably the most horrifying of all Christmas movies. It's like just him lecturing you about what Christmas should be for like an hour and a half. And it's pretty great. I do love, so any other Christmas horror recos that you have, I will totally take and put on the site because I have a love for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mayan calendar one though almost broke me because it's a sci-fi movie, but it does start with the grandmother getting killed with a giant icicle, which I think is
Ooh.
yeah, like the kids they're all like putting up the Christmas lights, and then an icicle comes out of the sky and impales her. And I was like, well, I'm gonna stick around for an hour and a half of this, whatever it is. But it's a sci-fi movie, so it's very much set somewhere in a Canadian town that could be the Pacific Northwest, but maybe not. And every character is named for a character that was there when Jesus was born. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. It's like The Mist too. It rips off a lot of The Mist. Why? Yeah, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell anyone on this movie, but it's something.
The Mist isn't a bad movie. I just hated the ending. It was too much. It was too horrible.
Oh, don't you? But it's just like a dad that couldn't wait. It's like a dad that got to the mall, couldn't find a parking space, and turned around. It's like the ultimate expression of a dad that just couldn't wait. I know I'm making light of it, but
Yeah. I like the way we're still talking about The Mist, right?
Yeah.
So I like the ending. I mean, it's so contrived in terms of like the moment of the reveal, but I don't know, like my interpretation of it, I don't know if this is what the director, like Frank Darabont, intended, but like it seemed very much like Republicans versus Democrats, and the message seemed to be that Democrats give up too easily. Like that's a big thing. But yeah, it is brutal. Like it's really upsetting. Like especially the shot that's almost from the father's point of view of like the boy just waking up, seeing like presumably his dad pointing a gun at him and just being utterly horrified by that. That kid was a good actor.
I love that lady that was on the back of the truck, the one that walked out by herself, and she made it, and she had her kids with her too.
Yeah,
and she just had this look. She was like, I was right. I left the supermarket on my own. And I thought that was kind of cheap because they established that the minute you left the supermarket, something would come and kill you. And that didn't happen to her for some reason. So why?
The happy version of that ending, Shaun of the Dead. It has like Shaun of the Dead almost sets you up for that ending. And then the military comes and is actually super, super effectual, which you don't usually expect from zombie movies.
Sorry, I agree with Mike Justice in the chat. Last stop on the night train, or like it has so many different titles. Yeah, I probably just butchered one of the real titles, but it's really neat, and it has Matcha Merrill from Deep Red and was released the same year. It would make a great holiday double feature because Deep Red is kind of Christmassy in its flashbacks as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a Last House on the left ripoff, but does some pretty unique things with it, and it's intense.
I was answering our Ben Scher, who's a friend of the show this week, and he's like, "You still haven't watched Last House on the Left yet? You've watched every ripoff of it." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm weird." He's like, because I posted a review for Night Trains, and he was like, "Just watch the original." And I was like, I love exploring these worlds of the movies that rip it off so much.
I didn't know you had never seen Last House on the Left.
I've seen the remake because Arrow sent me the remake to review, and I still haven't watched it. Which I'm gonna watch it by the end of this year is one of my goals. I was writing it. Speaking of what Mike wrote there, I was writing another review for a 7 release, and I said this movie has way too much sexual violence for the average viewer. Oh wait, George Eastman wrote it. That's why. It was like an Eastman D'Amato double work on it. I'm like, of course, that's why this movie's like this. But yeah,
I honestly believe that even just a little bit of Eastman is enough to change you forever.
He's a secret hunk. The ladies love him when he's pulling his intestines out.
Do they?
I don't know if they do. He's
I'll
something.
say as well that John Ortiz. I love a downer ending as well, and that ending in The Mist, it has such a Twilight Zone kind of vibe to it. It's very I have time now. Time enough at last. And then the glasses break.
Yes. That was unfair too.
Well, that's why I was excited for Frank Darabont to be the story runner for Walking Dead, and which obviously that didn't work out because it seemed like he had the right sensibilities for that world, and like the first season was really good, and then after that, I didn't really like it, you know.
And Vince Cornelius, I agree with you. To All of a Good Night is super underrated. Like it's dismissed as like a boring run-of-the-mill slasher, but I think it's so much more special than that. And I love the twist at the end. Like the killer reveal is fantastic.
Are you talking about the David Hess film
I'm
from 1980?
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with David Hess.
He's Krug from Last House on the Left, and I think he was the director of that film.
Gotcha. Nice.
I also do know that Krug was named for Wes Craven's high school bully, and he used it again for Freddy Krueger. That's how upsetting this kid was in high school to Wes Craven. So he
the scars take a long time to heal.
They do.
And Vince, if you've never seen The Dorm That Dripped Blood, I think you would like it just as much, given you're a fan of To All a Good Night.
Exciting. Well, Bill, what are you drinking tonight?
Sorry, I skipped ahead.
No, it's good. I'm excited to see what you're drinking. I always enjoy seeing your off-script drink.
I'm making a Midorian ginger ale.
Ooh.
So that's all.
I've never tried that together, so that's pretty exciting.
Well, it's supposed to have vodka in it too, but I don't know what I did with my vanilla here, and you can't use that. Let's see if there's anything.
I did find Midoriya this week, which is always a crapshoot. And but I did find it. So.
Oh, dude, I went into the liquor store and there were like 10 bottles there. I was like,
did you almost feel like buying more than one? You're like, I got to stock up.
I came close, but it's too expensive. I'm lucky I could even buy one, let alone more than one. So.
Exactly. I was like, this has to make it through New Year's. This Midori.
I think I see it.
I didn't have to buy anything new for the drinks this week, so that's that worked out. I'm trying to get rid of people always buy me airplane bottles for Christmas, so I'm trying to go through all my airplane bottles before I get new ones for Christmas. So that's my goal.
This isn't a decanter, so I really don't know what it is.
Oh man,
we'll see.
I found that's like finding a pill in the street and taking it, Bill. You don't know what you're getting.
It's a magic elixir.
Yeah,
and that transformed into.
I'm wasting it tonight.
What magical powers will be in it? Oh man, my other Christmas movie I watched, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a movie where the mob kidnapped Santa Claus. Very Gone with the Pope like scenario. Yeah. And because
who does that kind of thing?
Well, they got hired by a toy company because Santa was cutting into their profits. So if they kidnapped Santa, and then there was this elf prophecy that one elf would finally rise up to save Santa. So this movie was the plot of it seemed seemingly for kids, but there's also a bounty hunter who eats elves, and he has been searching for the perfect elf to eat. And he has all these different elf recipes, which it really feels not for kids. And it's just something else.
And this is a more recent film?
Yeah, this is from 2019. Okay. It's Elfette Saves Christmas, another Tubi winner. Everybody's horrible in the movie except the mob guy. The guy who plays the mob guy completely gets his role. And which his role is to just put a gun in Santa's face for the entire movie. So if you're a kid and you love Santa, you're going to really be just stunned by this movie. Yeah, it's something else. But it's, again, I love movies where you can't figure out the audience for it, where it's like, okay, adults, this is too childlike for adults and too harrowing for kids. It's for me, I guess. I'm the audience for this movie.
You're making me think of Deadly Games as well, which is a film that makes you wonder every time you watch, who is this for exactly?
My example is always the Pink Angels, because like any biker gang is going to be upset that a biker movie is this, and anybody gay is going to be upset because of all of how silly it is. And it's just like, it's not for anybody. It's great trailer and like an hour and a half of an absolutely inept movie with a the darkest ending. I don't know if the spoil the Pink Angels for anybody. They all get hung at the White House at the end of it. Why? Yeah. And it's like, but the whole rest of the movie has just been this wacky, goofy, fun road trip. The trailer is great. Just watch the trailer, and that's all you need. Look at this.
We've got some ads for See No Evil, our first feature on the program tonight. It's streaming free on YouTube. I didn't check and see if it's on Tubi, but it probably is.
It is on Tubi. I checked.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the two distinct panels on this ad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very 2001 monolith.
Wow, this ad makes a lot of promises. One, in the tradition of Hitchcock, I get that, but then also more exciting than Rosemary's Baby. Like they're really they're doubling down, as they say in this
Mr.
ad.
Hitchcock, can you really say you have made a movie more frightening than See No Evil?
Also, I like that they put in that very small music by Elmer Bernstein. Yeah. Also, Hitchcock, guys, come on.
Masterpiece.
I wish that it had the Hitchcock Argento line on it. Frankly, I'm worried about this boy. He never said.
And that tagline, which is on a lot of the promotional art for this film, is a really great and apt tagline for this movie. Keep your eyes on what she cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really becomes, I don't know, like you feel as a viewer compelled to keep an eye out for her as you're watching this. And meanwhile, I mean, she's using her sense of hearing to kind of navigate this perilous circumstance.
It's a great atmosphere in this film. It's very fallish. We're watching it maybe a little too late in the season. There's a lot of blowing fall leaves and autumn atmosphere.
I love the name of this theater, the Beautiful Tower.
Not just the tower, but the beautiful tower.
Or where are you guys going to the movies tonight? The Beautiful Tower? Oh, wow. Like that suggests that we're going to have a very classy night at the movies.
It is a lounging chair theater.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Remember, I mean, that's something that I notice in ads. Like around this time, like the early 70s, people started to discover reclining theater seats, and it was in every ad. Oh, we have a rocking chair theater.
I think it's anything to make the difference from the home experience, to like get you to leave your house and stop watching. As we all know, pay TV is the enemy of theaters from that one drive-in ad.
The monster in your living room.
Yeah, the monster in your living room.
And of course, you have to see it from the beginning. Please.
Yes.
Please see it from the beginning. More beauty from the beautiful tower. I love stuff like, look at all the lines.
Yeah. And I like the tower like T. It's a fun logo design.
Ooh, yeah. Wow, that Plaza Theater logo is wild too. Look how beautiful that is.
Somebody in the chat, I think it was David, mentioned strange shadows in an empty room, and even the ad campaign is similar to that movie.
Yeah. Wow, this is really nice.
There wasn't much variation. I like to see all kinds of different ad designs.
It's like the Rockettes, direct from Radio City Music Hall. It's See No Evil.
I'm just now imagining like Mia Farrow looking so at the center of a chorus line.
Just terrified but trying to kick as high as she can.
Yeah, there is a scene in this movie where she does that repeatedly while dancing. So.
Oh, well. In those Wonder Woman boots that we saw in the trailer?
Yes. She takes them at the end. That's the final scene. She's dancing.
Spoiler warning to everybody.
The killer's boots.
Yeah.
No, that's a made-up thing. I haven't told you whether she lives or dies.
Oh, okay. We took my mother-in-law out for dinner Wednesday night, and we were taking all these pictures, Bill, and I tried to get her to do Rockettes kicks with me. Beck and I were both kicking and doing it, and she was like, no. So we have like a picture of my leg up in the air and her like terrified. It's really great. Like I'm really going to be able to kick like the Rockettes. Like what are you thinking? But we were at the Lamont. It was fancy.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know.
The Lamont.
I said, can I just get a salad? I asked my wife. She said, no, you have to get something. I said, oh, okay. Oh, man.
So, yeah, this movie had an alternate title in the UK. In foreign
Yeah.
territories, it was called Blind Terror.
Oh,
This is in there a little early. I didn't mean to reveal that alternate title yet, but the secret is out.
I went right to the Ken Russell ad to the left. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was noticing that too. Gotta love Ken Russell.
Yeah. And that tagline for Doctors' Wives is great. Doctors' wives have everything except husbands. Dun, dun, dun. Boy, yeah. Ooh, yeah. This is nice.
I love how it looks like a television set or a watch.
Yeah, it looks like a wristwatch. Oh, this would be beautiful as a wristwatch, wouldn't it?
I want it now. We need to design it. Oh, Bill, you need to design it, sell it through your Etsy store, and I'll buy one.
I have to cut you in as a co-creator now. So
Pittsburgh
Here it is
ad.
in Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
It played the Cheswick, which is where I saw many, many movies while I was growing up.
Yeah.
A hardtop theater, not a drive-in.
Trying to see which ones of those are still even around. I think none of the drive-ins are around anymore.
I gotta mention real quick. Chris in the chat mentioned "And Soon the Darkness," another Brian Clemens screenplay from the same era. Another really great thriller. I think See No Evil is the better of the two, but they're both excellent.
Yeah, they are a little. The tone is very similar. Just when lots of periods where there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
Lots of visual interaction.
Yeah, Bill, of those theaters, the Roxy's the only one that's alive, but it's been redone as a concert theater. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wow.
I've never been to the Roxy-In.
I was going to ask you to go because the cult's coming in April. So.
Oh, I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to tell you, and this is a good opportunity to tell you.
Sisters of Mercy just played there not too long ago, but I didn't go see them.
That was the night of the drive-in, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Plus, it was too much money. It was like $70 to see
yeah.
Sisters of Mercy. I was like, no, thanks.
No.
I've seen their online videos.
Yeah.
Of other nights on the tour. So I like to get a drive-in panel in there, and here's the Pittsburgh drive-ins, so we can kind of see.
Ooh, I love the graphic at the top with the kind of I don't know, forced perspective. It's really cool.
I'm having a hard time reading it, so I'm going to bring it up on my computer. Thanks to Frank Polvino, by the way, for being our sponsor for this week's show. And if you would like to be a sponsor, you can send a small donation via PayPal to groovydoom@gmail.com.
Thanks, Frank.
So it was playing with Lady in Car with Glasses and Gun and A Man Called Sledge featuring James Garner.
Oh, wow. I love that the Greater Pittsburgh has Gone with the Wind, and that's all that's playing at the drive. Can you imagine going to the drive-in for that? And it just says a cast of thousands.
Well, yeah, how could they show a co-feature?
Yeah. How about Clute and Kaleidoscope? That's probably my pick on those.
Nice.
Yeah. That would be fun to see at the drive-in.
Clute and Kaleidoscope. That sounds like a 90s techno.
Yeah, they only play like twee dance music.
Barbara Hershey and the Baby Maker.
And the female nurses too.
Scandal.
Gosh. Yeah. No Dependable on this lineup, Bill. I can only imagine what the Dependable was playing in 1971.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Here's a variation of that Pittsburgh ad.
Oh, yes.
So murky. You can barely make out her face.
Yeah.
Which honestly makes it wonderfully eerie.
Yeah, she doesn't need the lights on.
This ad is for her. She's like, I know what this ad is. There's
this
the
is another
Dependable.
night. Yeah, there's a Dependable.
Dean's Wife and Kama Sutra 11.
71.
71. Oh, okay. Yes, it's very tiny, but that feels exactly what the Dependable would be playing.
Yeah, they're on brand.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back to these again. I do have some more blind terror ads to get to.
Ooh.
Which I don't know, I kind of like that title better.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't know. I don't know why. I can't say exactly, but I think I prefer See No Evil.
Yeah.
I might be biased though, because that's the video cassette that I rented from wherever back in the day.
So was that the title on home video everywhere then, not just in the UK?
I think so. Like I never heard the title Blind Terror until I was at one of the Sergio Martino Q&As at Music Box this past January.
Mm-hmm.
And he referenced it, and I'm as an influence on Torso, and I mean I looked it up. I'm like, what's Blind Terror? Oh my god, it's See No Evil. I was so excited to learn that he was so inspired by it.
The boots, the bracelet, and the bodies.
I like the From Tomorrow. That's like an interesting way of saying when it starts.
And that image with the brightness up in this particular ad, of just sort of the shadowy figure standing over the woman, kind of like hanging off the edge of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of the cover art for Murder Lust, which is a really, really great shot on video movie from the 80s about a serial killer. Highly recommend. But yeah, if you look up the ad for Murder Lust, it's very similar. I'm pulling it up now to make sure I'm not misremembering.
Joseph agrees with me. Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, wait. It is actually kind of different, but the shadowy figure is the same, and it's a woman standing next to a bed, undressing.
It reminds me of, isn't there a Tenabra poster that looks like that?
Oh, yeah.
I might be wearing the shirt of it right now.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
This was just a teaser that ran in there. Nothing more.
That's really lovely, actually.
Look at the grain. I popped off there too fast.
Yeah.
The grain, it really excites me.
And the simplicity of it is just so intriguing.
Should have known you'd where to find the boots, the bracelet, and the booze. Thank you, Jeffrey. Here's more of that high contrast look. The Odeon marble arch. That sounds fancy.
When I was growing up, the Cineplex Odeon was kind of the big chain theater around Chicago.
Did they have a marble arch?
They didn't. No, like honestly, I don't remember any striking architectural details at all. They were kind of generic, sort of megaplex theaters. Nothing too special. Preview tonight. Ooh, yes, Farrow stars in a most unusual suspense movie.
Oh, this must have been a teaser, a sneak preview. I didn't catch that. Sorry, I lumped it in with the blind terror ads. I'm so disorganized tonight.
You're fine.
I was looking up through these, Bill, of Richard Fleischer's filmography. His filmography is all over the place because, like, there's a lot of blockbusters, and then there's just a lot of weird stuff in it. Like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Fantastic Voyage are really, I think, the definition of pre-Star Wars blockbusters. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're like big effects movies. But then he also did Dr. Dolittle and other. Like, he did a lot of movies that didn't do well, like Dr. Dolittle, Che, Tora. But then he, Soylent Green, a big movie. And Mr. Majestic, which I love. I think that's a really great Bronson movie. And then he did The Jazz Singer because he replaced Sidney Furie on that one. And then Amityville 3D. And then the double feature of Conan the Destroyer and Red Sonja, one after the other, and $1 Million Mystery. And his last film credit is a creative consultant for a Betty Boop cartoon, which is in 1989, the Betty Boop movie mystery short. But
revival.
Yeah, I think he coming in late on the Jazz Singer. I like the Jazz Singer, but I also realize that it's not a good movie. That might be why I like it so much. And he did Mandingo too. So I mean, he did. It was kind of all over the place. I remember when I was a kid, like Fantastic Voyage was a movie that people would talk about, like, oh, when this is on TV, we're going to watch it. And it's kind of forgotten a little bit today. Like the effects are, at the time though, it was like a big effects movie for the time.
I feel like it's also sort of, in the vein of the Irwin Allen films. Yeah. Disaster movies and just, I don't know, cinema spectaculars.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought someday Raquel Welch will be put into my body to fix whatever problems I have. And nope. No, I guess
take one of your ribs.
Yeah, she will. I guess that's how it's going to happen. The Jazz Singer feels like one of those movies, like, how in Australia they have a New Year's Eve tradition of watching Can't Stop the Music. I feel like the Jazz Singer in another country should be that kind of tradition too. What a weird tradition to be like. That Australia is the only country where, one of the few places where Can't Stop the Music was a big success. I think I think that we should watch it more often, personally. And I agree with David. Mr. Majestic's one of my favorite Bronson movies because all he wants to do is grow watermelons and people to leave him alone. And these people keep screwing with him. And finally, he's like, he takes it. And he's just like, oh, that's it. It's like not like, Death Wish 3 where he purposely sets up people to die. Like he walks around with the camera so someone can steal it so we can shoot them. My politics are very left-leaning, except when it's time for Charles Bronson movies, and then they go completely the opposite direction. I'm like, kill the giggler, do it now. Anyways, that's what I got to say.
Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll do the drink segment, and here's something to watch.
Hello？ 中国领事馆最后通知，已有一则文件已达多天尚未领取，请携带相关证件过来领取，否则将在今日到期。咨询文件请按1，按2由人尊说明。中国领事馆最后通知，已有一则文件已达多天尚未领取，请携带相关证件过来领取，否则将在今日到期。咨询文件请按1，按2由人尊说明。中国领事馆最后通知，已有一则文件已达多天尚未领取，请携带相关证件过来领取，否则将在今日到期。咨询文件请按1，按2由人尊说明。Jesus Christ.
Hey everybody, welcome to the next drink video. This is a blind Russian. This movie is about someone that's blind, so I'm like, I'll make a blind Russian. There's a lot of alcohol in this, but you know what? I know you can handle it. We got an ounce of the Baileys, an ounce of the cream to cacao. We got an ounce of Kahlua, an ounce of butterscotch schnapps, or butter shots, which is a funnier name. 3 ounces of half and half. And we got my mother-in-law sitting over there watching. So.
And everyone's favorite.
Cabe. Right. This is really easy. What you're going to do is you're going to combine all your alcohols. This is a deceptively sweet drink. And it's almost like a milkshake. Especially if you mix it up right. You could do this in a blender if you really want to get technical. But I just like shaking it. So make sure that seal is tight.
Tight seal.
Shake it like a baby. Shake it like a baby. All right, there we go. Oh, that hurt. There we go. Look at that strength.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. Let's see what it tastes like. Pazuzu. And enjoy it. It's going to make you go blind. It's lovely. Wow. This is going to be a very sophisticated drink for this movie. I hope you enjoy it. See us again for another drink.
It is very sophisticated, I think.
That's why I'm drinking it out of a squeeze bottle. Very
But
excited.
why would you terrorize poor Jess like that?
I hated that Chinese robocall. Did you used to get that one?
I've never had that one.
Oh, man.
Oh, I got it constantly, like in the middle of the workday. That was like before you knew better than to even answer the phone because you knew it was going to be a robocall. That was maybe like 2021, I think, is when that one was making the rounds.
Oh, man.
I think it was Jeff Jordan told me that someone that he works with who is Chinese explained that message to them, and she said it was like some kind of income tax scam that they would like play on people that, like, you know, maybe they didn't really understand the tax laws yet, and they would try and get money out of them that way.
I want to say hi in the chat to Carrie. I've been guest starring on a Facebook Live show that she does on Monday nights, Tomb of the Terrible, and they have decided to do all Amityville movies really from Halloween till now, and they're still doing them. And they let me pick a couple that are on their wheel of Amityville, and they got some really rough ones because of me. So I'd like to apologize and thank you for watching the show. Amityville Emmanuel was one of them, and Amityville Mount Misery Road, which I think is perhaps the worst of all Amityville movies. No, it's not the worst. There's some really bad ones.
How could you choose a worst? Come on.
Amityville Turkey Day was pretty rough. I watched that this week. And it is a ripoff of Thanksgiving, where there is a possessed turkey, just like Thanksgiving 1 and 3. There's no Thanksgiving 2. Right. But worse. And also, the first Amityville Thanksgiving was about a marriage counselor that killed people in Amityville. That doesn't have anything to do with Thanksgiving or Amityville, as you expect. So they've been wading their ways through it. So I appreciate. And when I'm not on, she dramatically reads my reviews from the site, which is pretty funny to hear a dramatic reading of my horrible. Usually my Amityville reviews are me talking about how much I hate them.
Have you tallied how many there are so far in the Amityville franchise? Obviously, many of them are unofficial, but including the unofficial ones.
Hundreds. I've done 72 so far. Wow. Yeah. Including, as Chris Erickson said, Amityville Vibrator. I have reviewed that one. It has the best tagline, for God's sake, get off. That's the best tagline of all the Amityville ones. Of those, I would say the only good Amityville movies are 2.
Yes. 2 is my favorite.
2 is 2 is, no doubt about it, a great movie.
Yeah.
Right? 3, I am coming around to 3, Bill, because I know you love 3.
I love 3.
I like Amityville: The New Generation and Amityville: It's About Time. Amityville: It's About Time is really good, actually. It's got a clock that they found from it, and I kind of like 4, the TV movie, because it has Patty Duke in it, so I kind of have to love it. And they take a lamp out of the house, and the lamp is possessed. Amityville in the Hood's okay. Otherwise, really, they're all pretty bad. There are a lot of movies where you can tell people that paid for a Kickstarter or crowdfunded, so they get a role and they're just on screen and they're just yelling something, and there's no real story, and then there's like 17 minutes of credits. That's what most of these movies are.
Jinkies.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, Amityville 2 is wonderful. It's also the most anti-Catholic movie ever made. Especially the scene where I always talk about it, but where they call the priest for help, and he just takes the phone off the hook and goes skiing. He goes skiing. He's like, well, the other priest is like, we're going to run late for our ski trip, and then they just go. Also, it has my favorite Amityville one where why did you sleep with your brother? And she goes, because I hate God.
Aww.
It makes him angry. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But Bill, 3, I'm really trying on 3. I promise. I know that you love it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Do you like it, John?
I don't know if I've ever seen the 3rd one.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I have far from seen all of the Amityville films, especially knowing now that there are hundreds.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be under 100, to be honest.
There's new one. Well, especially because you can't copyright it. There's so many of them now.
Wow.
And so it's like there's Amityville AI coming out. There's Amityville Elevator, Amityville Death Toilet, which was exactly as good as it sounds. Man, Amityville Emmanuel is the one that probably made me the most upset, because the idea that you could take an Emmanuel movie and an Amityville movie and put them together is a great idea.
I'm disappointed that there was not a good Amityville Emmanuel film.
It's also great because it kind of rhymes. So you're like, now
Oh my gosh, somebody needs to make that. That is a brilliant idea.
Amityville Black Emmanuel is what I'm going to make. That's the movie. And it's all about us trying to bring the ghost of Joe D'Amato back and make really bad movies, which are good bad movies, not these movies.
What's Laura Gemser doing? Is she still alive?
She's still alive, yeah.
I thought she was.
Yeah. Hopefully, what I love is that during Troll 2, she was the only person that spoke both Italian and English. So for Troll 2, she was the person translating Claudia Fragaso's directorial comments to the rest of the cast. And she was exhausted by the end of it. She also designed the troll costumes for that movie. I love when she shows up in really late period D'Amato movies, like Top Model and stuff, and she just has a cameo. And there's always like the main girl in the movie who's supposed to be the most beautiful girl. And then Laura Gemser shows up for a cameo. And you're like, oh, why did they even let her show up? Because she blows away everybody else in the movie. Even older, short-haired Laura Gemser's like a smoke show. And it just destroys everything that the movie set up.
I did watch a couple of years ago the Amityville Curse because I was sort of going through the whole filmography of a filmmaker named Michael Hooker. I don't know if you're familiar with him by name, but I can't remember if I watched Mind Killer or Night Visions first, but I really enjoyed both of those. I thought they were delightful. Definitely in the shot on video realm. And then I saw he was involved in a film called Lone Wolf, which I also thought was delightful. And the last film he ever worked on, the fourth and final film, was The Amityville Curse, and I was kind of underwhelmed. But
it's not great. Speaking of shot on video, I don't know if you saw this week, Bill, they announced 2 more Visual Vengeance titles, Furious, which is really exciting, the martial arts movie, and Dinosaur Valley Girls, which is a Don Glut movie, which is pretty wild. Those are both coming out. And then Rat Scratch Fever showed up on Tubi. Have you seen that movie, John?
No.
Oh my God. I'm going to tell you guys, I have never been so, it's one of those movies that I instantly got excited about because it starts with a doomed space mission. They go to this planet. There's all these giant rats on it. They barely escape. And one of the rats crawls into a woman exactly where you think it would. And it crawls into her stomach and then into her brain and takes over her body.
Oh,
and she is sent by the rats to come to Earth and take over Earth.
How do you know it did that? Did they track its progress?
They show you a cutaway of it going into her stomach and eating its way through her stomach and crawling up her throat in like a point of view shot. It's shot on video. It's wild. One of the bad guys in it is a cyborg that looks like a Criminy villain. And it just went up on Tubi. It is, every single frame of it is like all the money went into the movie. Like nobody, like it's just wild.
So Rat Scratch Fever from 2011. Cool. I'll check it out. I'm excited. It's a wonderful business.
Oh my God. It's a lot of miniature work too. And like giant rats fighting miniatures, kind of like kaiju. There's a lot of gore. There's like a weird vampire subplot. It's a lot and it's like 10 movies in like an hour and 10 minutes. So 100%. It's a Sam movie. Like when I was like a couple minutes into it and I was like, I can't believe that somebody would do this. I really want to spoil a lot of it, but I don't want to spoil it because I want you to see it and be like, I can't believe that somebody put that in the movie. There's like one scene specifically that I was like, I can't believe that this is in a movie. So,
wow.
Yeah. Super excited. So, yeah. Look for Amityville Dollar General though, Bill. That's the movie that I was born to make. I can't wait till I get to work on that.
I gotta say, I really appreciate this whole side conversation in the chat about Thanksgiving horror movies like Blood Rage, Home Sweet Home. What else are you all talking about? Blood Freak.
That's the one I watch.
A Thanksgiving movie, but it has so much turkey in it that it totally counts.
It's just a turkey movie. Yeah. I don't know
What-
about anybody else, but I don't eat turkey any other time of
Oh.
year.
I'd eat it all the time. I love it.
Oh wow.
But
We
do you
got-
actually make a turkey? Like
Not a turkey. No, I'll buy like turkey.
okay, well
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't
do.
make it turkey. Though we had two kinds of turkey this year. We had smoked and regular, and it was pretty awesome. I like Blood Harvest, which is, can we consider Blood Harvest a Thanksgiving movie?
The Scarecrow one?
The one with Tiny Tim in it.
Oh yeah, Blood Harvest
Yeah.
is great. Is it
Yeah.
a Thanksgiving movie?
I always get the feeling that the girl is coming back home from being away at school.
Oh.
That's kind of the feel I have for it. But I love
Yeah.
that movie because it's kind of about the savings and loan crisis, and also like Tiny Tim's character is totally telegraphed as being the bad guy, and spoiler,
Right.
he's not, and he's just so good in it. Like it's
really, really good.
yeah, like, and he just really is his role, and like I love the music he did in it. Non-ironically, I think it's a great movie. I really
Agreed.
love it.
Yeah, his rendition of Jack and Jill is quite lovely. I mean, it has that kind of folksy falsetto kind of quality of just what you know him for.
I dislike that he's only known for like the Blumhouse crowd people, where it's like, oh well, he's instantly creepy when his music shows up. I'm like, no, he was the biggest star in America for about 6 months.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a treasure of an artist. And I just love the soulfulness of his character in Blood Harvest. I mean, you really empathize with him, even when you're wondering if he's the killer. I mean, he seems so genuinely insane that you can't help but feel bad for the guy.
Marvelous Mervo. Is his name.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Yeah, Marvelous Mervo. It's what he sings the song that goes over the end credits. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
It's so good. I actually really liked Thanksgiving last year when it came out. Like I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, and I thought it was pretty good for a slasher, for a modern slasher. Yeah,
I'm not a huge Eli Roth fan. I went to an advanced screening of it, and I was like, "Oh dear! Like, why am I watching the new Eli Roth movie?"
Yeah.
But it was surprisingly fun. Although I will say, I thought that I knew what the ending was going to be, and I like my ending better than Eli Roth's ending. So basically, at the beginning of the movie, there's the Black Friday scene, and then it flash forwards like a year or something. And the main character's boyfriend reappears out of nowhere. And there's this moment when she says, hey, I thought I saw you at the diner, because like they were at the diner, like that friend group, and thought she saw him. And he's like, no, that wasn't me. And so my brain immediately went to Secret Twin. This is going to be an homage to the Blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had been, but yeah, I don't know. It was still really fun. I like the cameos. Gina Gershon was delightful to see, and Lynn Griffin in the opening kind of dinner sequence was delightful to see as well. And I chatted with her a little bit about, because I brought her to Chicago for Black Christmas and Curtains last year, and like, to Eli Roth's credit, Lynn Griffin said that he's a delightful guy who just was so lovely to chat with and so appreciative of her and Black Christmas. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she had a really great time making the film.
He always uses sorcery in his the band from Stunt Rock. He uses them in almost every movie, so I really appreciate him for that. I'm like, oh well, that's cool. Even though I hated his Death Wish, there was like 2 sorcery songs in it. I'm like, okay, well, that was cool. But like, what a hard movie to. I was like, oh, we don't need another one. But he
hates your Death Wish too.
Oh, I love. That's the problem. Is like, Death Wish is such a weird. Sorry, this is the third segment, but I'll just get it off my chest. The first Death Wish is great because it's like, because it's a downer movie. He is not happy about being a killer. The second one is a cash in, and it's Michael Winter being Michael Winter. The third one, though, presents an alternate universe where he's become a superhero and gangs get together. Like gangs have psychic rapport. They wear like punk rock face paint, and like the gangs are more together than people. There's only 2 blocks of New York City in it, even though it's shot in England. And then the 4th and 5th ones are like James Bond movies where he suddenly learned how to use gadgets like remote control soccer balls, and they become insane. And it's like, and also Bronson is like in his late 60s doing things that only 20-year-old men can do. And I kind of like that.
Well,
that's my rant.
There was mention in the chat about other Thanksgiving. Does any movie where people have a big feast, is that a Thanksgiving movie? And the first thing I thought of was, what do you think it was?
Ooh, I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, maybe.
Terror at Red Wolf Inn.
Yes,
Yes.
Sam was
Ooh.
right. Texas
There is
Chainsaw could be too, but they don't actually have a big feast in Texas
that's
Chainsaw.
true.
You don't see them eating, which is the only thing they left out of Texas Chainsaw.
That's why I brought up Thanksgiving, because there is that big scene where he's cooking for them, and he has everybody like gathered, which feels very much Happy Birthday to me, the way he has it set up.
Nice.
Where they bring everybody together for. I like Happy Birthday to me. I wish more people.
That was a
together.
Secret Twin movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. With that gal from Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah,
Melissa Gilbert.
What's interesting about that movie is that like all of her friends are horrible. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're supposed to be like the cool kids in school, and maybe because I wasn't in that group, maybe I'm inevitably thinking I wouldn't like get along with them. But like, you don't feel bad for them getting killed. You're like, they're the worst. Yeah. Spider Baby's another eating movie, Bill. I give that to Paul. That's a good one.
Oh, Spider Baby is so wonderful.
Yeah.
What a strange film.
Yeah.
I love it so much, just for whatever it is. And also that Lon Chaney Jr. sings the theme song, which is pretty great.
Every theme song should be sung. Every theme song should be sung. By Lon Chaney.
That feels like one of those, like, that's a good warm-up sentence to read. Home for the Holidays is a good one too. Yeah.
I always mistake Home for the Holidays for a Thanksgiving movie, but it's Christmas.
Yeah.
I think it's Thanksgiving because we usually don't have snow in for Thanksgiving.
I was confused for a second because yes, I love the Sally Field made-for-TV movie, which you're right is a Christmas movie. But I also love, it's not a horror film; it's a really great film directed by Jodie Foster. It's from the '90s. It's called Home for the Holidays. It is a Thanksgiving movie. It's with Holly Hunter, Robert Downey Jr. Really, really great film. Highly recommend. If you like a dramedy, then definitely check it out. And it has like a contemporary short fiction vibe. Like, it is a really fantastic script, and like Jodie Foster is a solid director, and the whole cast are amazing.
Holly Hunter was on her way to her peak in Cronenberg's Crash.
Oh my god, I love Crash so freaking much, and she's so good in it. That one and Shivers are tied for my favorite Cronenberg, I think.
But it's Holly Hunter that we first see in the car where she has that accident, and he's looking over into the car, and she's like,
I know.
she pulls her boob out or something, and that's like the beginning of his descent.
Are just utterly stunning. Like, it is just such a wonderful, wonderful film. Anyone in the chat who hasn't seen Crash, do yourself a favor and check it out. It's magnificent.
The other movie that gets in some Thanksgiving, Deadly Friend, gets Halloween and Thanksgiving.
That's true.
Because it kind of goes through the fall and has like a lot in it. Not a great effect, but not essentially a good movie. It's got a great effect in it.
Like a couple other movies that like cycle through a ton of holidays. I can't remember if they include Thanksgiving, but Christine kind of goes through a lot of holidays. And then Raising Cain, the De Palma film, goes through a lot of holidays too.
Which Showgirls has Halloween and Christmas.
And Lady in White has a couple holidays in it too, because it kind of goes through fall.
That's true. Oh God, I love Lady in White so much.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, it breaks my heart that a lot of people who watch it today say it's just really, really slow paced. It should have been shorter. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It is one of the great horror films of the 80s.
Yeah.
And I discovered it as a child too, which I think was probably the best way to discover it, because it is such a great, like, all ages horror film. And it's dark. There's some really sinister stuff that happens in it. Some of which, could fly over the head of younger viewers, but yeah, it is just, I don't know. Like,
it has the scene where he is trapped in the cloakroom overnight. It's like not scary, but if you went to a school like that, it is scary because that's your fear. And it does such a good job. And like the idea that somebody that you love in your family could be a killer is like, that movie gets it so well. I think it's a perfect movie. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
And the visuals are so inventive. He witnesses the murder, but because the murderer is still alive, you can't see him. So it's
Yeah.
this invisible entity carrying the body of the ghost girl. It's just it's so phenomenal in just every way.
Yeah. I it's a movie that we watch in this house at least like 2 or 3 times a year, and then I always find something different in it every time. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. Like, she's just obsessed with it. So
And it has like a Ray Bradbury, Waukegan, Illinois kind of vibe to it.
yeah,
It's like very something wicked this way comes.
yeah, exactly. It's got great fall vibes, and it reminds me of like when you first come back to school and those smells of a classroom kind of feel where it's like as it heats up, like it has that. Anyways, Bill, we should probably start the movie.
Yeah, let's get to See No Evil.
Yeah, I'm excited. We didn't ask. Hopefully, let us, if it's your first time, let us know when we come back.
Yeah, we still have a few more seconds before we go on, so let us know if it's your first time watching See No Evil. I know it was my first time watching it this week, and it's really, where has this movie been all my life?
Yeah.
Is all I kept thinking. So I hope you enjoy it too. And thanks to our guest, John McDevitt, for suggesting it. We're going to be back on the second segment. And John, I think there's a rumor you may stick around for the third as well.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. We hope you'll all come back for the second segment after you know, on YouTube or on